Welcome to Career Uprising. I'm your host, Lorraine Rise, a career and executive coach dedicated to helping clients who are 40 plus to break free from feeling stuck and transform into the unstoppable force you're destined to become. Let's start the uprising. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Career Uprising. Please take a moment to follow the show on Apple Podcasts, and even better, leave a review or rating. I would greatly appreciate it, and share this episode with anyone who is struggling in their career or unemployed. It could really make a difference. Today's episode is Resilience in the Face of Rejection. So welcome to the show. I'm Lorraine Rise. We are in the thick of it still with this government shutdown and almost wrapping up 2025. This year has flown by. I know it's a cliche, but they do say that time actually, your perception of time, it goes by faster as you get older. I think that's fascinating. I think it's very true. But what I want to talk to you about today, we've talked about this recently already, but I need to revisit this again. The brutal job market and economy that we have out there is really making the job search tough for a lot of people. Just a few weeks ago, I put out another episode about the brutal job market and how to survive. So listen to that as well if this is something that you are going through. So what I want to focus on today is helping you to build your resilience. Resilience is one of the most key skills in life. It's one of the most valuable ones. We need it now in these times more than ever, and especially when we face constant rejection in the job search. The kind of rejection that goes on and on, sometimes for 6 months, a year, 2 years. I've heard numbers that long, having applied to 500 jobs and gotten almost no interviews. When the no's start to pile up, it's really easy to doubt yourself, to question, what am I doing? Is it me? Is it even worth trying anymore? What I want to share with you today, it will hopefully be something practical beyond just the rejection is just redirection. I want to smack people who say that, okay? Now, I understand where that comes from. It's well-intentioned, but it's not that useful, and it's also not always true. Yes, I do believe 100% that if something is meant to work out, it will, okay? It will. And if it's not meant to work out, it won't. I do believe a certain amount of that. However, to someone who's been facing constant rejection for months and months, to just tell them, oh, it's okay, you're just being redirected to something better, is almost insulting, right? It's well-intentioned, but misplaced, and not what those people need to hear. It's what people these days call toxic positivity, right? Which sounds like it couldn't be a thing, but in a way, it's positivity that just is inauthentic and glosses over the severity and the gravity of the situation. So I think that the people out there who are especially unemployed, without income, and have no choice but to keep going need to hear something a little bit better. So I'm going to strike a balance between the two viewpoints of, oh, this is just horrible and it sucks, and, oh, it's okay, you're being redirected. The truth, I believe, is somewhere in the middle. The truth always lies somewhere in the middle. All right, so let's get started and let's talk about what job search rejection really is. Because the truth is, it isn't always actual rejection of you. Sometimes it is. Sometimes you were rejected because you weren't qualified, or maybe you were qualified, but you just weren't what the company was looking for whatever reason. And that's perfectly fine. It is what it is. You're going to get a certain amount of that. So sometimes you personally are rejected, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you did anything wrong. Again, it might. It's all very, very situational. And I think the hardest part for a job seeker is that you don't know which one it is. Was I rejected because I really wasn't qualified? Was I rejected because I was qualified, but I didn't present myself well enough? Was I rejected because no one even read my resume, so I didn't even get consideration? Or was I rejected because maybe the company just put the position on hold or went in a different direction and it has nothing to do with me at all? There are so many explanations for job search rejection. That isn't the problem. It's the problem is that you don't often know which one it is. And that makes your job really hard because you don't know, should I adjust my resume? Should I have done something different? Should I have not said that in that interview? This is where the questioning of yourself comes from because you don't actually have real data to make a decision on. So we just kind of lump it all into general rejection, but not all rejection is the same, is what I want you to know. Not all job search rejection is the same, and not all of it is true rejection about you. A lot of times, the rejection actually says more about the company than it does about you. Very, very common. All right. So instead of asking, what's wrong with me? Try asking, what can I learn from this? Or what else can I do besides this? Or how else can I break into this company? I want you to ask open-ended, curious questions rather than making close-ended, fixed statements. Well, this just sucks, or this just isn't going to work, or I guess I just can't work for that company. Maybe, but what if you asked, how else can I get seen at this company? What else can I do to apply? Who else could I reach out to? What other jobs might this company have for me that might be better? Anything like that. Be a question asker, all right? That is where you're going to open your mind up to new possibilities and be able to reframe the rejection, all right? Every closed door gives you some kind of opportunity or feedback in some way, but you have to choose to use it. All right. So you have to just do your best with the information that you have to discern, was this really about me? Did I really do something wrong or was I not qualified? Maybe, maybe not. And I think relying on your intuition is going to be critical to know the difference. And you won't always know why. Sometimes you just have to move on. You just have to accept that that job didn't work out and move on. It's hard. I know. I have been there. But the only other option is to rack your brain and go through all the what ifs of what if I had done this and what if I had done that, and there's no point in that. Know when to move on and just start applying to other things. We've been taught too that failure is something to avoid, but in reality, it's the tuition you pay for growth. Think about it. Every meaningful skill you've learned came with mistakes first. Walking, talking, driving. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the path to it. And I will stand by that. I really believe it is. Sometimes it takes longer. Sometimes it's really quick, but failure is the path to success. You will get there. You will land a job. It is tough right now. One of the toughest markets in years. So give yourself a break, give yourself some grace, and know that other people are going through this. And when you stop being afraid of the rejection, you can start experimenting a little bit more. As I said, if you ask questions and get curious, you can try new approaches. Apply to different kinds of jobs. Maybe ask for bigger opportunities. Maybe you're not shooting high enough. That's where you build momentum and resilience. The most successful people that I know, the executives, the entrepreneurs, whoever, have one thing in common. They have a high tolerance for disappointment and rejection and setbacks. They take those hits without taking them to heart. So here's a mantra for you. It's not my job to control the outcome, but it is my job to keep showing up. Try saying that to yourself. It's not my job to control the outcome. It's my job to keep showing up. If you can stay consistent when things aren't paying off, you're building the muscle of resilience. And that muscle will compound over time. And pretty soon, things that used to be hard aren't hard anymore. It's pretty cool. Let's get honest too about the emotional side of this because rejection does hurt. You're human. That spiral of self-doubt that comes and then the overthinking and the questioning, it's normal. It's part of this process, unfortunately. But here's where people get stuck. They start interpreting emotion as evidence. I feel defeated, so I am defeated. No, your feelings are different. Feelings are just feelings. They're not necessarily a truth or evidence of a truth. So here's a better way to try and move through that emotional cycle. Always take a pause before reacting. I was just giving a talk the other night to some university students at a local community college all about emotional intelligence, and resilience is a big part of that. And this is exactly what I taught them. Always take a pause before reacting to anything. That way you can respond instead of reacting. So, you get that rejection email from a job. What do you want to do? Boom, react. I knew it. Another rejection. What am I going to do now? It's tempting to feel that way. But I want you to give yourself at least a couple of hours, maybe even a day. Just take a step back, focus on something else, and see how you feel later. And name what you feel. I feel frustrated. I feel rejected. I feel lost. All right? Once you name it, you kind of get it out. And then you can deal with it. And then I do want you to try to reframe it. Is there a positive side to this? Is there anything I can learn from this? What action step do I want to take to move forward now as a result of this? How do I want to thoughtfully respond to this? All right. And re-engage as soon as you can with purpose. And you don't have to force the optimism because we know this process sucks. I'm not saying you're going to be happy again an hour later. So you're not going to be happy all the time. That's okay. But you are going to have to move forward. This rejection is temporary, but resilience is forever. Let's take a quick break so you can think about those things. Let that sink in another layer deeper. You'll learn a little bit more about what we do here at Career Uprising, and we will be right back with more strategies for how you can build resilience, not resistance, build resilience. All right, we'll take a break and we will be right back. Hey there, listeners. Thanks for tuning in to Career Uprising. I have some exciting news for you. This show has been going steady since 2018, and I have amassed well over 100 episodes so far. So I decided to do something big and bold. I put the best of all of my teachings together in a book. That's right. I have a brand new book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all the major outlets. It's called What You Didn't Learn in School: Lessons on Growth, Change, and Living Your Best Life. This book contains 30 powerful lessons from my podcast and my work as a career coach to help you live your best life. Learn how to increase your confidence, get rid of imposter syndrome forever, finally get clarity on your career path, and so much more. This book covers everything from careers to finances to health to relationships and more. Head over to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or your favorite book retailer and pre-order your copy of What You Didn't Learn in School. Then go to my website, careeruprising.com, to learn more about how Career Uprising can help you transform your career and your life. Let's get back to the show. Okay, let's talk about how to build momentum in a really practical way, because resilience is kind of one of those soft skills, right? That it's intangible. It's hard to know if you have it or not. You can't reach out and touch it. How can we make this more practical? So here are some habits that you can adopt. Number 1, shorten your recovery time. After a no, give yourself a small window of time to feel it, a day at the most, then get back in motion. Don't live in that place. Get up and take action. The faster you return to action, the less power the rejection holds. 2, maybe create a reflection ritual. After each interview, ask yourself, what went well? What didn't? What can I do to be even just 1% better next time? This will help turn the disappointment into progress. And 3, revisit your wins. Maybe you need to even write them down to remember them. When you've been feeling defeated for a long time, it can be really hard to remember the things that are good and that you're grateful for. So write down small wins, feedback you got, that interview that you did get, whatever it might be. All right. And then you need to go back and revisit that when you're feeling at a low point. Re-anchor yourself in your values is number 4. When you know what you stand for, growth, creativity, stability, service, whatever it is, the rejection loses its sting because it doesn't touch those values. You're not chasing validation then. You're aligning with your purpose. Do not use a job search ever to validate yourself. That is a losing game. Validation comes from within. All you're doing is going fishing and looking for an opportunity that aligns with your values and your purpose. You are not looking for your worth or value outside of yourself, ever. And 5, separate identity from outcome. You're not your job title. You're not your last interview. You're not your last rejection. You are who you are, and that doesn't change because a company said no. It simply means that was not the right opportunity for you right now. And I know it's hard because you just want to find that one that is so desperately. But if you focus your attitude, if your attitude is focused on all the things that are not working and how you're unemployed and don't have a job, and that's your dominant thought, that's what's going to continue. This is the hard part, is finding the gratitude and the positivity, because that's what's going to align you with something that does work. Resilience is a choice. It's not a personality trait. It is available to everyone at all times. It's a decision that you make every time you get up again in the morning. You have to choose it over and over. It is not a one-time thing. You can choose to make rejection mean that you're not good enough, or you can choose to make it mean that you're learning and this is a process and you're still alive and you're still in the game. So you still have a chance. The people who ultimately succeed are not necessarily the most talented. They're the most persistent. I mean, like it or not, that's really how it is. They stay curious instead of getting bitter. So if you're in a season of rejection right now, I want you to remind yourself, this is temporary. It's feedback. It's a process. I've done hard things before, and I can absolutely do this. That means that you're already resilient and you're just being refined, we'll say. Rejection is unavoidable, all right? But defeat is optional. You can always keep going. Every time life tells you no, you have the chance to build endurance and trust and clarity. This is easier said than done. That is not lost on me. I know I have been unemployed so many times in my life. I get it. I have been through this process over and over. Stay the course, even if it's not perfect, but consistent. And I promise you will look back and realize that those rejections never, ever touched your heart. They never needed to. They were not all about you. And you were always on the path. You were never off the path. If today's episode spoke to you at all, please do share it with a family member or a friend, anyone who is struggling right now. We're here to help at careeruprising.com. You can learn more about what we do. We do coaching sessions, we do resume writing, we do assessments, we have generous payment plans. So if finances are an issue, let me know. As long as you are committed to making some form of an investment, I can't give it away for free, then we can work with you as best we can. You are closer than you think, and help is here. I hope this helped you. Share this episode with someone else. All right. And I'll talk to you next time on Career Uprising. Hey, it's Lorraine, and I want to say thanks for listening. If you found value in today's show, I would be honored to have your review on Apple Podcasts. It's the single best way to help this show be found by other listeners, and you'll earn some good karma. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to connect with you next time on Career Uprising.